Hello there.
This is where the fun begins.
What's up guys, Unofficial Star Wars here. Hope you're all doing well, and in this video we are going to be discussing more about the upcoming Disney Plus's The Acolyte. Of course, we're going to go ahead and hop right on into it. Before we do though, however, grab that subscribe button if you haven't already, as we're discussing and covering all types of Star Wars related news, leaks, rumors, theories, and breakdowns here on the channel. So if you guys are into any of that, go ahead and grab that subscribe button today. Okay, so in this video we are going to be taking a quick read from the Direct's article. I'll have their article linked in the description down below for you guys to check out there, as well as an overall garnering source. Many of us are kind of out here wondering what exactly is the difference between the High Republic and the Old Republic. The High Republic is, for one, where the Acolyte is going to be taking place, so that seems to lead on a bit more of a current importance, although for those of you that know more about it, the Old Republic is totally badass. And I'm really hoping that the High Republic era and more of its stories, especially through the Acolyte, are going to be able to offer us some of that same kind of feeling and vibe that the Old Republic also goes on to offer. So here are the differences between the High Republic and the Old Republic in Star Wars canon. The newest trailer for Lucasfilm's upcoming Disney Plus series, The Acolyte, has many excited to see the High Republic era explored on screen. One of the few places on the Star Wars timeline outside of the Skywalker saga as well. Another significant era is also the Old Republic, made famous by the popular game series Knights of the Old Republic. And so, for one, their place on the Star Wars timeline and its canon. The first significant difference between the High Republic era and the Old Republic era is where they exactly fit onto the Star Wars timeline and how long that they've been on or have lasted for, essentially. The Old Republic has taken place roughly 25,000 years before the Battle of Yavin, or the events of A New Hope, and would go on to stretch on up until the year 1000 before Battle of Yavin. The longest single era in Star Wars canon. The High Republic era has only lasted around 400 years, from 500 BBY or Battle of Yavin to 100 BBY or Battle of Yavin. Needless to say, a lot has happened during those 24,000 years in the Old Republic. There's so many different stories to be told. Interestingly enough, however, nearly all of the specifics of that era are not considered canon, and are technically a part of the legends, as those story points were created before Disney's new initiative. In contrast to that though, however, every detail of the High Republic, a fairly recent era created for a new wave of Star Wars novels and books that had begun in 2021, is a part of Star Wars canon. Fans are hoping that The Acolyte, with its spotlight on the Sith characters as well, more specifically, can really establish more Old Republic lore as canon as well. So, to clear things up, Old Republic comes before the events of the High Republic and also lasts way longer than the High Republic events. It brings us to our second point, or our second difference between these two big eras in a galaxy far, far away. Peace versus war in the Star Wars galaxy. The High Republic is really known for being the absolute high point of the Republic, hence its name, maintaining a long stretch of uninterrupted peace, as it seems that the Acolyte Disney Plus show is going to bring that to a conclusion. There were some exceptions though, however, such as the threat of the Sith Nil, which is explored in the High Republic novels. However, for the most part, the galaxy is at peace and safe. Many Jedi in the High Republic have never even seen combat themselves. It is the extreme opposite for the Old Republic era though, however. There's nothing but war, which has a long list of conflicts across the Star Wars galaxy, namely that of the Galactic Republic and the Jedi Order, putting two and two together, versus the Sith Empire. Another key difference that being the endlessness of evil Sith. Then comes the biggest difference between the two eras, the Sith. In the Old Republic, thousands upon thousands of Sith are active at that time, all of which were a part of this grand Sith Empire. Instead of battle droids, picture all of those being Sith, or at least people running around using the Force and having red lightsabers. As one would expect, that faction had waged a long and destructive war against the Jedi and the Republic among the entirety of the galaxy. When it comes to the High Republic, the Sith have not been seen for hundreds upon hundreds of years. Before the events of the Phantom Menace, there hadn't been a recorded sighting of a Sith for nearly 1,000 years. The Acolyte Disney Plus show, though, however, will explore that hidden truth, that the Sith were active during the events of that long stretch of quote-unquote peace. However, the faction had stayed into the shadows and was beholden into the infamous rule of two, keeping their numbers at bay. It brings me to a very big theory that I like to throw around out there in and out of our Acolyte videos here on the channel, that nobody's going to make it out of the Acolyte. Nobody's going to be there to tell the story of the Sith. If you see a Sith, when, you know, like in the Acolyte show, whatever Jedi character that is, say bye-bye to them, because they're not making it out to tell that story. Since the lore does need to hold to its canon established in The Phantom Menace, the odds of survival don't look quite great for any Jedi who sees a red lightsaber at any point in the Acolyte. And so, all in all, I think the biggest difference between these two eras within a galaxy far, far away has to come with that, well, one is canon and one is technically a part of Legends, as it did kind of touch base on that with a little bit earlier. The Old Republic era is technically a part of Legends, or the Expanded Universe, EU, and was more or less established or created before Disney had taken on Lucasfilm and had bought out the rights and had taken on the Star Wars franchise, essentially. The High Republic, however, though, has been here for only a couple of years, actually. In 2021, with the High Republic novels, is when it was first really established and actually created to be a thing, a part of Disney's kind of way of telling stories, essentially, under the Disney umbrella, if you will. That there also being said, as I had mentioned, as the Old Republic era is outside of canon and a part of Legends, technically, there's the High Republic era that is a part of canon, actually. Like, those events are actually in the events, like, the same universe of where the events of Return of the Jedi take place, or the events of The Force Awakens takes place, essentially, or The Mandalorian. Those are all one cohesive timeline. Perhaps there are only mere stories, or ghost stories really, whispers, and maybe a few character names that are technically a part of Star Wars canon from the Old Republic. As really seen into The Rise of Skywalker, there can be a statue of Darth Revan seen somewhere in the background, but even then, it's hard to really imply if that's a part of canon or if that really counts. This all being said, though, however, let me know all of your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. I would love to hear what you guys are all thinking. Thanks so much for watching today's video. Of course, this has been an official Star Wars. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great one. May the Force with you as always. Peace out.